Guys, let's look at the GCP side of the uh, how to deploy the microservices. Okay. So before we go too deep dive on the GCP thing, we have to understand something called the YAML file. YAML file is similar to the JSON file, if you see the syntax. Um, and you have to follow the convention, you have to follow the spacing of it, like metadata. Under the metadata, the label should be intended. Under the label, the app should be intended. So some of these things, once you get used to it, it's not that hard. It's just a text file. It's more readable. Actually, if you get used to it, it's more or like reading a story, metadata labels. So this one spec containers as the image thing and image pull policy, blah, 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 right? So but the initial time it takes a little effort to make sure we are okay with the indentation of that. So here I'm just trying to, I'll show the real meta YAML file soon, but what I'm trying to show here is for this movie catalog YAML file, we are specifying the environment variables called name movie rating URI, and the value is moving dash rating, and movie info URI, and the value is http movie dash info, right? What is this movie rating and movie info? This seems to be like a great URL, right? Because it's not cryptic. It's almost like a DNS URL, like agilerules.com, right? Or the movie.com. So by name itself, by the literal name, you could infer what it is. So my looking at the movie rating, oh, this is for the URL of the movie rating. By looking at the movie info, this is for the info of the movie. However, are we going to define the DNS? Are we going to do all those? In previously with ECS, Pivotal Cloud Foundry, those kind of things. If you have to call some URL, either we have to call the IP address of that, or you have to create a DNS separately. But beauty of Kubernetes is you get this for free. Okay, so that's something which I want to slowly, as we go through things, you are going to understand the power of the tool. So you try to understand that you get the DNS address for free once you start deploying this thing, right? So this is an example. Let me start with the movie catalog itself. Movie catalog has the metadata, it has the label, it has what is the name of it, right? And there is a selector. Selector is very important because uh, once you create so many of the instances, one is right now we are creating a deployment, right? Deployment of the Microservice. Then you can create the ingress, you can create security, you can create a lot and lots of component, everything through different forms of YAML file. And if you keep the same selector, you could, if you want to delete all the objects what has been created for this particular movie catalog, you just say delete selector equal to movie catalog. It's going to delete everything. You don't have to go and do it manually. So selector is very useful. We are going to see about the different strategy, rolling update, blue green deployment, canary deployment, those kind of things. So this tool is very powerful, saying that you have so many versions of the microservice, and you could say transfer some raw traffic to this microservice version 1 and traffic to the next version 2. How do you specify? You specify using the strategy, right? So we'll see those things later. And this is where you specify your Docker image, right? So I have published our code into the Docker image in the Docker Hub. So you are just going to get to this. That's it. Um, and then you are referring the environment variables for the dependent service. So rating URI and basically this comes you are if your movie ratings, for example, if you go to the movie rating, if your app name is movie rating, you are going to get a URL http colon movie rating. Similarly for movie info. So by default, whatever the name of the component, it will be the URL automatically. You get it, Okay, so this is what I want to make sure. And there is another thing called services. See, previously we had a deployment. We talked about the deployment. Now we have something called service. Service is the entry point for the Kubernetes. Once you create a deployment, if that has to be accessible from the outside world, the service is what is going to enable it, right? And you say movie catalog, and what kind of services is called a load balancer. That means you get a load balancer URL, right? Oh, you get a load balancer also for free. As soon as you specify service thing, get the load. But is it really free? No, the load balancer internally is going to use the in this case Google's load balancer, and you're going to pay for it eventually, right? But the URL, the DNS is for free. You get the DNS for free. And if you don't want to specify something called the load balancer, you could say you could say node port, right? Node port means it's only available within the node. Okay, when do you use it? For example, if you have hundreds of microservices, different versions are happening. If you cannot keep on having a load balancer for each one of them, it's going to be very expensive. Then we have something called ingress, and once you create an ingress is an entry point which will talk to the rest of the services which have the node port, right? So I want you guys to understand one thing. So one file, we have a kind called deployment. On the same file, we have a kind called service. In the same file, we can add ingress, we can add a security thing. So one file itself, you could specify things, and you have to just delimit it by the three dash. It will work, and this could be checked into the GitHub and so on. So it's very well maintainable. And one more thing I want to make sure is while doing the deployment, there is something called a replica set. To me, this is called a magic wish thing, right? So, for example, for my Christmas, I want to have three toys always. If my toys breaks or not, I want the three toys to be there always. Can you do all those kind of things? Yeah, you can ask the Christmas wish thing, right? But in Kubernetes world, all you have to specify it. You can say 100 or you can say 3, whatever the number you specify it, it automatically creates so many instances for you. You don't have to do any of the things to make it work. As long as you specify it in the replica set Kubernetes already maintains, and it gives you so many instances of it. So during Christmas times, you need to have your microservices for thousands of instances. As soon as the Christmas season is done, you have to have 5 instances. Yeah, all you have to do it is just to do 1,000 instances, deploy and finish it. After Christmas, then same file, change it replica to 5. That's it, and apply. It's going to work for you. So now you are seeing all the slowly the magic of Kubernetes. Kubernetes gives you the scalable things uh, with just a changing of the uh, YAML file. Okay. So now I'm going to go get into this Kubernetes thing. So this is the GCP console, and here console.cloud.go.com. You have to have your credit card and you have to register, and once you get this, okay, once you get this, we are going to do things now. We are going to create the Kubernetes engine cluster, right? So first, how do you do that? Kubernetes cluster. So there's something called Kubernetes engine. Oh, sorry, I think I chose the wrong thing. So you have to be careful. Kubernetes engine, right? And we want to create the instance, create a cluster, right? You can create any cluster you want, and standard cluster 1 should be okay for me. I want to keep the things default 3. I don't want to change anything. I want to keep everything as a default and say create. This might take a couple of minutes to do it. Okay. So what do you need? Why you need a cluster? So first of all, the Kubernetes is based on the master node and the worker nodes. And to have the master node, you need to have the cluster created. And this is through using this Kubernetes cluster create command. It will create it for us. Previously, before the cloud vendors, if you have to do this, it's a very, very monotonous job, very involved. But now, since it's cloud service, it's just one click away, and we are going to do it. The next magic I'm going to talk it on the Google Cloud is the Cloud Shell. Okay, I'm basically came from the AWS background, and if you have to connect to any machines or anything, I have to get the security keys. I have to go to the SSH. I have to do things manually. But here, what you're gaining is as soon as you create a account, username and password, you log in into the GCP console. You just enable the Cloud Shell. It gives you, and Cloud Shell is free. I think 2 GB of free space. It's a machine. It's a local machine where you can do wonders with it, and that's what we are going to use it today. So one thing what I want to do is I want to have in a separate window, so that way it's easy for us. And how do I do that? Web preview, launch, Cloud Shell environment. Okay, I thought I can full mode or something, right? Default mode, safe mode, usage quota, blah blah blah. Okay, minimize. Open in a new window. Sorry, yeah, this is what I want to make sure, because it will be easy for us to go back and forth. So you could do either way. You could just use this small window for that, or you could use, if you want to have the full window, all you have to do is click on the Cloud Shell and click open in the new window that is going to be created. And this is, you have the new window here, and you have the new window here for the console. So you could do so clean stuff here. So just to tell you, this is nothing but almost like a you have a machine, Linux machine given to you for free by the GCP to do your development easy. Okay, so this will take a couple of minutes, and while this is doing it, I want to show you there is something called a project. So everything in the GCP world is assigned to a project. So I created a project called my first Kubernetes project, and so when you create a Kubernetes cluster, it should know for which project you are doing it, and this is automatically goes to this particular project. Okay, that is good. And I also want to show you guys the okay, so these are all the things. So we are going to use the stack driver, okay, to enable to see the traces of the logs and so on. And stack driver, okay, so this is called a stack driver API stack driver. See, Google stack driver. So I want to go to this, and I want to right click and go to the new window. So this also we might need to use it. So just want to keep it ready for us here. And you need to enable those APIs. So this is from the same account. This is trying to show me here. Okay. So this is ready. Now I want to, so from here we might want to go to the okay, so now I want to go back to the Kubernetes engine to see if my thing has come or not. So I'm just going back. So this is good. So now what we are going to do is we are going to connect. Your cluster is created. So now you see how easy it is to do the development. Now I created a cluster first, and this is showing you how to connect to the cluster. I can copy this command. Okay, this is a gcloud command prompt to do this, and I go to the cloud shell and just say right click or control V. So gcloud container clusters get credentials, standard cluster 1, whatever the name of the cluster we gave. Zone is a central 1A, project minus minus project block. So that's it. You actually don't need to know too many things. I don't know too much on the gcloud and so on. It gives me all the commands and it gives me the prompt console to paste it and make it work. So now this is done, which is a perfect thing. So now I want to show you guys. Okay, there is one more magic here. So the magic is once you are in the cloud shell, you could upload your files. And if you see here, I have YAML files here, movie catalog. So for example, movie info stack driver deployment, movie rating stack driver deployment, movie catalog stack driver deployment, right? How did you do? All I have to do it is I have to say upload file, and here I have to just show you use my directory. Wherever I have the project, I just have to do it, right? So in my case, what I will be doing is C:colon projects, correct? I'll go inside this and I'll say something called Cine presentations, right? So deploying Spring Boot to GCP. So now if I go here, this is the project what I showed you guys in the Eclipse, right? Now you see the same project here and you can just choose this YAML file and say open. I'm not going to do it. Once it uploads, you're going to see it here. Okay, so this is how it works. So now what I want to do is I have a cheat sheet here. So this kubectl apply minus f. Believe me, this is one command which you should know. So control F minus. So here I want to do movie info stack driver deployment. Okay, so control C, control V. So this is going to say that it's created and it has the service also. Remember I showed you you could have multiple components, and this has finished the deployment and this has finished the service both at one shot. So now I want to do, instead of movie info, I'm going to say movie rating. So for each of the microservice, we'll have our own deployment file, and the deployment file you just upload it here into the cloud shell and just kubectl minus f, right? Then the last one should be movie catalog. Okay, so this will take a couple of minutes to create, and how to see if things are working or not. To go to the cheat sheet, you could say get all, right? So if you say get all, it's going to show you whatever there in the Kubernetes cluster things. So what this is going to show you is, wow, all we did was kubectl minus f apply, and it creates you the services. So it's in Kubernetes, the basic structure is a pod. Okay, so we are going to see it in the PowerPoint. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint soon, but the basic deployment unit is a pod, and within the pod you could have one or more containers. In our case, we have the movie catalog container running. This pod is running this movie info. This pod is running the movie rating. Okay, and not all of them is there. This has the external IP, so that means this has come, but other two things are coming. So if you just keep doing it, you might get that pretty soon, all the three external IP. Okay, so still the catalog is spinning, so you're going to see the catalog soon. And also if you go here, if you go to the services and ingress, here also, wow, here you got it. Yep, movie catalog has also come. So one thing is I want to note down this IP address Okay, this IP address 8081 is this the okay 124 correct slash movies slash 100 I think something like this slash okay localhost 8001 8081 catalog slash foo. Right. So all I need is this thing catalog slash foo. Now you are going to see the magic again. Now instead of see you got the same kind of a thing. This is what the movies. We are asking the catalog. Hey, what do you have movies? It's saying yes. I have the lock stock. And what is the rating of it? It is going to say my rating is 3. And what is the container metadata? Oh, now you see this is getting previously while testing locally it was unknown, but now you're seeing the real container pod ID, right? See, and similarly the other one is also having this own pod ID. So if I go into this, um, you are going to see get pods, right? So kubectl. So you are going to see this is what the pod ID PF89X, okay, and this is getting from 86KN TQ96S. So if you remember some of these numbers, yeah, PF89X, right? So now you know from which container the value also we got it, right? So in summary, what we did, in summary, we just created a cluster. Once the cluster is created, we connected to the Cloud Shell, and we from the Cloud Shell we connected to the cluster through the gcloud command line prompt. Then what we are using is kubectl command, kubectl -f apply, and you start applying the Kubernetes services. What you want to do? One for info, one for rating, one for catalog. And while it's doing it, it's going to give you the corresponding external IP. Why you got an external IP? Because you put the load balancer. If you put a node port, you won't see that external IP, right? So now you're seeing the external IP. Since you have the external IP, you got instead of localhost 8081, now you go to that URL, what it's showing you, catalog foo, and you got this now. So perfect. So now one final thing I want to show you, this is slightly, so I'm going to show you the trace. Okay, so this is also one more magic. Remember in the pom.xml file we were having it, right, that GCP specific entries, that is to send the things to this stack trace. Like in AWS CloudWatch, this stack trace is very powerful. And if I go to the stack list, it's going to say 2 minutes ago, this is what is there. Let's see what it's saying. Now you see, this is what the URL 8081 catalog slash foo, what is doing? It is calling the 8083 movie rating colon, this is the DNS, you get the DNS for free. So movie rating colon 8083 rating data user foo. So it is calling that thing. After that, what is doing? It's also calling the movie info. Okay, so it's each one of them telling you how long milliseconds it takes to get the response. And the movie info is calling one more thing called API, the movie DB. Okay, that is how the code is written in the Spring Boot. This movie info, it's not hard coded with the movie info. It is calling the external REST service, which gives you back the values here. And now you see the whole thing, how long it took. And once you have the other complex blue-green deployment or those kind of things, you could see how much of the traffic goes to the version 1, version 2, on one place you get the holistic picture of the microservice, including which pod is giving you what, how long their response time, why it is low. Um, so I'm very impressed with the GCP's Kubernetes effort. It is effortless, and you get to run the cloud native applications um, very easily. And all you have to know is some kubectl commands. And once you know this kubectl commands, believe me, the same commands are going to be used in AWS EKS and Azure EKS and Kubernetes Engine GCP, right? All of them. So that is good. So that means what is other the concepts, like for example, one microservice calling other microservices in a cloud neutral way. Yes, Kubernetes gives you that. It gives you the DNS for free, so that all you have to do is make sure you start using the DNS so that it will work across the cloud. Only thing which is proprietary right now is the trace thing. So we are using the cloud provided stack driver. There are some approach for making it cloud neutral also. For that it takes a little bit of work, Istio and those kind of things you can put. But for this particular discussion I want to show you guys how easy to develop microservices using Spring Boot in the first video we saw. Then you can deploy those Docker images into Docker Hub. Once you deploy that in the Docker Hub, you specify things in the YAML file. In the YAML file, while specifying, you specify the container image. This is where you tie the Docker image. Okay. And once you specify, and if there are dependent service, you just specify dependent service with the name of the DNS things. And for each one of your microservices, you will have your own deployment YAML file. Then you create a cluster in GCP, then connect through the Cloud Shell and apply kubectl -f apply, and you are going to see the external IP. Once the external IP is there, you should be able to hit, and as soon as you keep hitting here, it basically gives you the values and also send it to the trace. So for example, if you go back to the trace list, now you see just now, so it is keep accumulating. So if you want to see what's happening for this new thing, you get the whole history of thing. This is one of the challenging things of the microservices. You're going to split your services functionally. Some part of it, info is here, rating is here, catalog somewhere else, and there could be one instance or multiple instance, and one instance can go down, the other instance automatically creates using the Kubernetes replica set magic. All the things happen, but how do you know I got this value, but this is wrong value? Why? Oh, that is because of what? This because of this particular pod. So you should, so that is why you should be able to in your response itself try to get the metadata information so that you know from which pod. So if there is a problem in particular pod, you know, oh, okay, this is a particular version, that particular version is in this pod, that is why it is giving this value and so on. Okay, so very fulfilling effort for me on this. So hope you guys like it. And one more thing is I want to make sure, yeah, so I just want to give a shot. In Kubernetes engine, um, for example, the concepts are like it has the containers will be running on a pod. Pod is the minimum, yeah, that's the least deployment thing that is required in a Kubernetes engine. So you need to have the things in the pod, and container Docker images runs on the pod. Containers runs containers in the pod share the networking and storage. That is the beauty of it. This kind of an architecture. This is the stack driver resale. We already saw live, but I just want to have it. And this is what the GitHub URLs for the movie rating GCP and movie info GCP or movie catalog GCP. Okay. Um, So hope you guys like it, and hope to see you guys in the next recording. Thanks.